This is a video about using Flobot to run a carpet or flooring company. So we go straight in. Let's start with the dashboard. We can see on the right hand side here, this will show us any fitters or estimators that we have and exactly where they're located. Now this is a demo account, so we have people who are logged in all over the world, and obviously that makes it quite difficult to get them all on a map in one go, but you can see that they are logged in all over the UK, some in Cyprus, some in Sri Lanka, etc. And over here we have something that helps us manage our business. Because this is a demo account, these figures aren't massively relevant, so this isn't a particularly interesting segment. So we'll go straight into adding a customer who might have called up and is looking in the first instance to get an estimate for their flooring. So I will start by putting them in up here as a new customer, and this form pops up. I've filled some of it out already because it's pretty boring watching the video of me doing that. So they want to call my HSL in Wimbledon, London. So we've captured all their details there once. We've got a postcode lookup, etc., what type of customer they are. And we have three options here now. The first one is convert to an order. So we might do that, leave it exactly where it is in the database. The one over here to the right is save for later, so they may call up at an inconvenient time. We know we've got to get back to them, but we don't want to lose them, so we save them and it goes on a list which you can find up here under my leads. Or we might just want to go straight to making an order and making an appointment for someone to go and actually give them the estimate they want. So I've clicked that one. And what we're going to do is find one of our guys who can do appointments. So we'll put it in for Chuck. And I'm going to book an appointment in for him on Wednesday the 1st. There are different ways to do this. I don't actually have to select him from this schedule in the first instance, but I'll do it this way, and you can watch one of the other videos about how you might want to do it another way. So we put in new appointment. As we can see here, we have the order, the name. We're going to put them in for a quote or an estimate. We can tell the customer that they will be arriving between these times. They'll have the number of the estimator, a picture of them if you put one up, and all the details to get in contact with them if there's any problems. And you can send that by SMS and email. And so we will just make that appointment now. And as soon as we've made that appointment, it will go into the app. So that the estimator has the address and all the details that we've put in for them, so they can do the quote in the first instance. Once we've done that, we could go and make quote in the actual app itself and then upload it into the system. But this is a short demo, so we'll cover that on another video. And what we'll say is that we are happy that Chuck has gone out and done this appointment, and he's now going to build a quote in the system. And we add a new one. Now, we might have set up a template already for the most useful jobs that we do. In this case, that might be a domestic carpet, hall stairs and landing. And we've already pre-built some of it. And as you can see here, it already has some of the dimensions in here, and it already has what we might need to make this into a quote very quickly. So we'll start by putting the dimensions of our rooms in. As you can see, we've got bedroom 1 here at 40 already. We can edit or delete that. We might just put HSL. So that's given us a total of 60, and what we can do now, instead of just typing them each individually, we link them all together because these are the correct ratios, and we type in 60 and it changes it to where we need to go. So we've now made a very quick quotation for £4,000. Our template tells us that we've already got a description of works that asks us to do this. We might have some pictures that have already been uploaded from the app, and we might have a link down here to the actual carpet. It just saves a lot of questions, but assuming we're happy with that, let's send this off to the customer. One more thing to note, we can hide these particular line items because obviously your customer is likely to go onto the internet and look for the cheapest prices, so we might want to hide those. But as it is, let's just send that quote off to the customer. I'll send it to me. We're happy with the way it looks and we send it. Now that it's sent, we'll just check our inbox, and here we have our quote that was sent as a PDF and as a link, or either or if you want to. And we can see that there is our quote, who it's to, what we're going to do. This is quite important here. The price is, how much they want, and if they want to go ahead they can accept it online. So, and the good thing is they've accepted the terms and conditions by going ahead with that. And once we've accepted that, we'll get an email saying such and such has accepted their quote, and the status of this job will now change to 6, quote accepted. So we know that they want to go ahead with that quote. If we missed of all our emails and we didn't take any notice of them, we can just check anyway by clicking here, quotes accepted. That will give us a list of all the quotes that have been accepted, and then we know we have to do something with it. So here we are with David. The next thing we might want to do is go back to our quote and make some an invoice so that we can send it out to the customer. So we can do that very quickly at the bottom by going create customer charges, and we might want to ask for a deposit. And once we're happy with that, we might want to do one of two things. If we've got a payment gateway in here, and that means that they can put their credit card in or their debit card and pay it off online, so you don't really need to worry about when that's done because it will tell you. Or if we don't, we're just going to send them a deposit invoice with our backs details on. Off it goes. I did it the quick way. We might want to do it so that we don't get all of these individual charges on it, which obviously we can do. And once that's sent off, we're waiting now for their deposit. So the system is saying deposit request has been sent, but it hasn't been received. And whether that's done by card or whether they pay it by bank, we're going to record this one manually for the minute because we don't have a gateway in the demo account. So we now recorded the deposit has been paid, and technically what we should do now is move this stage to deposit received, and that will go in one of our appointments on the top, or works appointment booked, materials not ordered. So we've moved it to the correct stage so that we can have other people in the business who might take over this job now, change over the ownership of the job and so on and so forth, and it will come up down here, materials not ordered. So we've got a long list of things that we need to do, and if we want to do that right now, what we do is we go back to our original quote and we make two things. The first one is we will send off a supplier sheet, and we've got a list of our suppliers in here and their addresses and our account numbers on them. So for this one, it's Cormar. Here's all the details we might need. I'm going to select the standard warehouse delivery template and basically just send that off to them, and it's saying please give me these orders. Now obviously Cormar don't do underlay, so we'll untick that one, and when they get the email, it will just say please give me this order in these colors if we put it right and in these cuts, and that just saves us having to type everything out or maybe even calling someone. So that's very useful. Once we've sent that off, we can tell them whether the supplier has read it, and this little figure here, send to API, is where we link this. We can do to our online inventory system, but that's for another video. So the next thing we might do, just to make this complete, we've got our quote, and what we're going to do is use this information here with all of these dimensions to actually tell the fitter what to do. Now in an ideal world, this would have, in the first instance, they would have had some images which would probably be labeled bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3, etc. But we built this online, as you saw, so we didn't have that. We might also have a little drawing that the estimator made, and that would appear here as well. I think for the purposes of the video we might just add a couple of them. So we've added some images, schematic. So basically we've put this together so that our fitter knows what to do. And to put that in their app, we're going to just hit that button, project sheet. We can email it off to them so they have a record of it as well, but we're going to publish it at the minute. And once that sheet has been published, then that will appear immediately in their app. What we've sent to the engineers here, it will appear just like that. And they can see then that they've got, it's taken out all the financial information because they don't need to see that, but the description of works telling them what they need to do, the pictures of where they need to do it, and the materials that they're going to do, and the cuts will mean that you probably won't get any calls from them because it's pretty straightforward about what they need to do. So once they've done that, the next thing that we need to do is just book in the fitting team. So exactly the same as we did for the estimators. Make a new appointment. So appointments and then new appointment. And I'll show you the second way of doing it because we don't actually need to select one quite yet. So let's say we want to put it on Thursday. This is the global schedule for all of our engineers and estimators. Please select job or project, and then I just select the engineers. And now we can see that we have one job there with 2 engineers in, and if I look at their particular schedules, I can see they're color coded in this schedule for red, which is Freddie Mercury, green, which is Chuck. But when we get to their individual ones, they are big orange blobs, and that represents a project, and the blue one there represents a quote, and there's a key especially for the individual one, so you can see just by looking at it what they're likely to be doing. Now we're all set pretty much for that job. The only thing we need to worry about is whether we're going to have the carpet on time. So I'm going to assume I've had an email back from the supplier, or I had a call back, or I had some information when I booked it that tells me when that item is actually going to arrive, and when it does, I'm going to book it into the warehouse so that I know when it's going to be arriving. And that's exactly the same process as just making an appointment for anything else. So I select the warehouse, I select the day it's likely to arrive, and I make a new appointment for it. I might put it under a small job or a job or project. I do actually have some more options which we can switch on, which is for deliveries and collection, so I'd probably put it in that one, so it's coming in about that time. And once I've booked that in, I then know when my carpet is likely to arrive, and hopefully it's going to arrive in time so that I can get my fitters onto it. So at this point now we're going to switch over to the app so that you can see what it looks like for the fitter. We're using an emulator here, so it doesn't work fully, but it allows me to talk over the top of it, which I'm sure you're really chuffed about. So when the engineer opens up their app, the calendar is presented to them, and we can see that we've got one appointment in here on the 2nd for Chuck, which is the one that we put in for the fitting. Once they click in there, they big orange blob, just like the schedule in the system. Obviously, these are designed for an app, so you can call, text your customer, find the location, and navigate to your customer by clicking this one. And then you might want to send "I'm late" SMS message, so you can hit that one, and it will send a link just like Uber across to the customer, telling them how many minutes you're going to be and exactly where you are, and so on and so forth. So let's go into this job and have a look exactly what it looks like. So up the top we've got the green. We have the check-in and check-out buttons up here if we want them, but they're not so prevalent in flooring. Client contact details, all the details of this client, what we might need to know, telephone number, again location, etc. Job details, well, this is just a smaller thing that just tells me exactly what we need to do. So once I call my carpet, here this link on this particular one will take us to that sheet that we created, so they'll know exactly what they have to do on that one, and it's replicated here on the project sheets, not in this emulator anyway. And the idea really behind this app, especially for the fitters, is to get some evidence of the job that's been done. So we're going to take pictures of the job that we've done, and this acts as a nice proof that we've done it, everyone was happy, and hopefully at the end of it we're going to get a signature. I've just made the screen a little bigger so we can see it on our laptop. We've got our attachments and images in there. We might want to put a work description, and this is to highlight everything that went well with the job and also the things that may have not gone so well. On the app you can actually speak this in because it's got a speech to text engine, so we'll save that, the notes. And we might want to go straight to the signatures now. So customer signature, signature of the engineer, the name of the customer, because it might not be the same. And once we're happy with that, we can get a summary, but we can just hit the submit button, and that will now upload and tell us that the job sheet has been submitted. So back to the job, and we can see that the job sheet has been submitted. I've had an email. This has got a little blue symbol in the document store, and it has changed the status of the order. So job sheet received. Let's have a look at that job sheet. Here it is, and we can see that it's got the name and address and all the details we need, the description of works that we put in, the time it was signed, exactly where it was signed, and the pictures that we sent, and there are our signatures. So we're all happy with that, and hopefully this is pretty much the end of our workflow, because the last thing we need to do now that they're happy with it is send them an invoice, send the customer an invoice. We can attach the job sheet that we have to that. We can automatically send the job sheet if we want to, and hopefully then they are just going to send it. But we'll assume that they were happy with it, and if we've got a card on file and we've changed our terms and conditions, we can just go and record that now, take a card payment or record another balance. Now is the end of the job and the end of this video.